Craig, who... And then I'm going to ask Jennifer the same question after this. But Craig, who's one of like your tentpole dimes? You know what I mean? Like when you were young, who was like a foundational dime for you?
Guillermo del Toro. No.
It's too late. You've already said it.
Just a hottie with a body. Oh boy. No, I definitely had them. Hold up. I think the first one. I think like the very first one would have been Claire Danes.
Word.
Yeah, that scans in my brain. Claire Danes, gorgeous.
Jennifer, baseline smoke show.
Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman.
Hell yeah,
that was
Nice.
a big one. That was the first time I was like, I really like this. I don't know why I like this so much.
Hey, what's going on? I will say that, like, I think there's like a general slurry for me of like, various, I don't know, cartoon Balto, whatever. But like when I was like a young adult, the reason that I bring this up is that Jet Black is a foundational guy. I wanted to know what everybody else's early dime was. He's a dime to me. Oh no, we lost Jennifer.
Oh no.
Oh, there you are.
Hi, welcome back.
Sorry, I was just thinking about Michelle Pfeiffer, and I didn't realize for a while that I wasn't really talking to anyone. I was just describing my affection for Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman.
The 30 seconds of silence that I heard stays in the episode after I talk about how strongly I feel about Jet Black. Hello and welcome to Swim Fans Full Clip. I am your co-host, Who Up Playing with Dave Balls. I'm Josh McKenzie.
I'm Craig. I'm changing my first answer. Laura Dern, Neeson.
I'm reverse cowgirl bebop Jen Hawking.
This week on Full Clip, we are talking the 2001 Shinichirō Watanabe film, Cowboy Bebop, the movie.
Just do it.
Very specifically the scene in Jurassic Park where she is eating ice cream.
That's crazy. You have a specific scene.
You mentioned this in the Disclosure episode.
Yeah.
Or maybe you were quoting someone. I don't remember.
I was quoting someone, but it rang so true in my soul.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Laura Dern. I was a horned up little kid for Laura Dern. 100%.
Tentpole dimes. These are
in the theater.
Okay, so if you've not seen Cowboy Bebop the movie, this stars the main cast of Cowboy Bebop. Okay, so you've got Spike Spiegel, who is like sort of a debonair bounty hunter, and you've got his partner Jet Black, who I think is a former police detective, and he's also a bounty hunter. But his whole thing is that he's old and over it. And then you have a third bounty hunter named Faye Valentine, and she's different because she's a hot lady. And then you have Ed, who is she's like a weird little computer hacker. And lastly, but very not leastly, you have Ein, who is a corgi. Just a regular corgi, no special features. So this is the main crew of the show and of the movie. And right at the start of the film, the Bebop crew here is low on funds. Jet and Spike have been taking these sort of like chicken shit gigs, and it's just not paying them much money. And they need a big score. Faye, meanwhile, witnesses sort of like while out and about, she witnesses a previously unidentified terrorist like blow up a tanker truck. And so she catches a glimpse of this sort of mysterious man all in black. And immediately the government is like, we'll give you so much money if you catch this guy. So what they do is they begin to follow the trail of a hacker who already sort of is like, in trouble with the government. So the movie sort of splits here. Spike is doing his investigation and Faye is doing hers. So with Faye, she is following this hacker And with the help of Ed, she's able to track him down. And this hacker is working for our villain, who we come to find out his name is Vincent. Meanwhile, Spike is sort of pursuing the case from another angle. He breaks into like a pharmaceutical, like biotech company. And he meets a woman named Elektra. They have, they have like a sort of like combat situation there. And so Faye and Spike are each getting sort of pieces to the larger conspiratorial puzzle here. Meanwhile, like back at the Bebop base, Jet and Ed have gotten a hold of. So after that terrorist attack right at the start of the film, there's a like fear of like a virus. Or some sort of a thing that is, infecting people and then just sort of melting their brain down, kind of killing them pretty quickly. So they've gotten a hold of a sample of this, and it appears to be like a sort of cell that's quite common in blood. But as Ed continues to look at it under the microscope, it's actually a collection of nanobots, of nanomachines that their feature is to sort of look like blood. And then what they do is they activate, they replicate, and then they destroy the brain, and then they sort of dissipate. So it's able to essentially kill without a trace. It's able to be passed like a virus, either through the atmosphere or by touch. And once it infects you, you die pretty quickly after. So they are quite surprised about this. But even though Spike's infiltrations into the biotech company, maybe gives him a clue, he's not able to get any answers. But he is able to follow Vincent onto like a future elevated line. So there's an extended scene where it's sort of revealed to us that Elektra knows Vincent somehow, and Vincent and Spike have like a battle there in which Vincent like appears to fatally shoot fatally shoot Spike, but he is saved by passing indigenous people on Mars. So meanwhile, Faye uses a tip from Ed to track down the hacker that she's been following. This hacker goes to meet Vincent, and while he's there, Vincent unleashes the virus on the hacker, killing him pretty instantly. Faye shows up immediately after, and she gets infected by the virus, and it begins to take effect. But Vincent feeds her his blood, which is how we then learn that Vincent is immune to the effects of the virus. This is because Vincent's unit in the army or whatever, the military, were used as test subjects for the virus. So many of them were given the virus to see its effectiveness, but Vincent was given the anti-nano machine. Okay, and the anti-nano machine works as like a vaccine to destroy the virus. So of all of the people in his unit, he's the last one left. But however, as a side effect of the vaccine virus sort of situation, he has lost his memory, so he has no knowledge. So all of this culminates in Vincent having like a big terrorist attack during the Halloween parade in the city. So there is a colossal jack-o'-lantern balloon, which is containing so much of the virus. They are able to sort of culture a vaccine from Elektra's blood. She is also immune to the virus after her time with Vincent. So they are able to culture her blood to make a vaccine. And so what they do is, because they don't think they can stop Vincent in time, they begin like mass vaccination. A cue, guys, a weep at the screen as these mass vaccinations take place, where
so they
where they
trail the vaccine all over people.
Literally, they recruit a bunch of pilots to chemtrail the vaccine down onto people from all sorts of aircraft. They force the weather control on the city to make it rain, to enhance the vaccine, and they're able to do this before Vincent's balloon pops and the virus goes out. And then the movie sort of culminates in this final action set piece that is Spike versus Vincent on top of what I can only imagine must be called the Halloween Tower. They fight out here, and finally at the end, it's revealed to us that Elektra and Vincent were lovers. And although he no longer remembers her after she fatally shoots Vincent to stop him, his last sort of dying thought is his time with Elektra. So that's the long and short of the Cowboy Bebop movie. What did you guys think?
I love that every conspiracy theory is true at the end of it. It's like vaccines, chemtrails, weather control. Like it's just, they just drop all of that on you in the last like 15 minutes. It's pretty great.
Yeah, if you watch through the credits, you see the FEMA death camps. Crazy that they included that.
The finale takes place at the Denver airport.
Yeah, you find out that Barack Obama is a Muslim inside some of like the adrenochrome tunnels.
Yeah,
the
weird
foresight
that they did that.
on that is incredible. I like this. This is really fun. I haven't seen all of Cowboy Bebop the show. Personally, I hold the unpopular opinion that Samurai Champloo is better. I have a really bad attention span when it comes to TV shows. So like both times I decided it was time to get into Cowboy Bebop, I ended about 5 or 6 episodes in. It wasn't because the show was bad or anything. It's difficult for me to stick with the show for that long. I knew the whole cast though, so maybe I watched more. Anyway, seeing them in like a super-sized episode of the show is really cool. Like the animation is really beautiful. I want to shout out like the blocking and compositions because like I watched
holy fuck.
They're great. I watched the first hour of it on my 65-inch OLED and it was like mind-blowing because he really used like cinematic style compositions, like where there's like these massive shots that are like super wide and they ask you that you focus on like a tiny part of the frame. It'll be like this incredible like environment background. And then like maybe in like the just the middle chunk, 2 characters will be talking to each other. Like I really liked how they did that. Like that style, it kind of only works in like a movie theater or 65-inch OLED or whatever. After the first hour, my air conditioner, which seemed to be not working very well after I had been running it for 2 days straight, just wasn't doing it. So we were sweating, and so we finished the movie at my girlfriend's apartment, which I'm not going to blow up her spot, but her air conditioner situation is much more desirable than mine. And we finished the movie on her 32-inch Polaroid branded TV, and it was not the same, man.
Get her ass.
I love my girlfriend, but I really need to work on her TV setup. I just have a better, yeah. Anyway, seeing these characters again was great. They're like a perfectly oiled machine to do shenanigans. So like it's just entertaining watching them bounce off of each other and stuff, and then go on their own side quests. And then like I don't know, they're in like one city for most of it, but it also feels like they're in like 6 different cities. Like each neighborhood just does not feel congruous with the other situations they find themselves in. And that's a lot of fun. I was a little underwhelmed with the ending. Like it just ends immediately after the bad guy is vanquished, so it never really feels like the movie closes. Like the setup is so clear. Like they're hungry, they're broke, they've been living off of lavishly designed ramen noodle cups, and then they just drop it. Like they don't get the bounty or anything. And it's been a long time since I've seen the show, so maybe that's just like how episodes of the show traditionally end. But like they have 2 hours, and just to shrug and go, yeah, they didn't get anything. Roll credits. They don't have to get the bounty, right? They can just readdress the motivation or something, like just rest, and they don't do that, and everything's just dropped, and I thought it was that was kind of like unsatisfying. That might be a bit nitpicky of me though, because overall I really liked the movie, and just watching the animation move was satisfying enough.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the animation and the colors here are fantastic. I love the vision of the future on Mars. That's simply like every culture on Earth has retained their own like individual identity, and they have their own street. Like it's welcome to Moroccan Street, where everything's just like Morocco. That's just like a very charming way to frame the future. And I always feel like you come up against that, like, oh, in the future there's like a monoculture, or like everything has kind of been blended together, and there's like little bits and pieces of like vestigial Earth culture left. But it's really charming. It feels like expansive and colorful. And again, like, to have a film like this and have it set in one location, it's really great to be able to like pull all these different colors together. The movie does not leave you lacking in just environmental detail, environmental storytelling. And the characters are fantastic. The core group are amazing. Ed is perhaps my favorite, most relatable.
Ed has Nisonian vibes to me,
completely.
For sure.
No, Ed is very much me in the future. I think we all wish we were Valentine.
Literally,
with the glossy,
what I wouldn't do for it.
with the glossy breasts. I think I love the fight sequences. Like Jennifer said, they're blocked incredibly. Every hit feels kinetic. The Foley work is just to die for. And there's I think this Cowboy Bebop has a kind of a unique swagger where things are quite serious, but at the same time like fun. The moment where he's pretending, our main character is pretending to be the world's worst janitor, and it immediately is clocked by the hot secret agent. Like their fight with the broom and the gun is great. Like it's like all the fight sequences are just fucking like A++. Like could not be better. And have I think like a fusion of again the delight of two bodies fighting each other, but they're also kind of horny. And that's I think where and similar to Jennifer's experience, I've tried 3 times to get into Cowboy Bebop because I'm like, there's something here that I think works completely, and I think it's amazing. But then there's something else that I find difficult to articulate that does not work and does not keep my attention. And that's also, at first I was like, oh shit! Like in this capsule of a film, they've remedied whatever problem I kind of ran against. But then it was like, no, it kind of let me down. There's something about the like the larger narrative, which again I like is fun, and I like the unraveling of a mystery, don't get me wrong, but I wish the film were like more about the like characters or something. I don't like it's cool. Nanobots are cool, and I like to learn about, especially the villain. I think is very fascinating, even though we only get to hear about his past in like a kind of like anecdote, like voiceover. I wish we spent more time with the characters. I wish they got more time to like hang out. Because when they're fighting, when they're hanging out, incredible, blissful. And I think the problem I have, weirdly enough, is the development of the plot. I don't think it's like satisfying. I don't, it's maybe a little thin. And I'm not expecting like revolutionary like villain shit here. I like the idea of a Batman-esque villain plot where he's put all the nanobots in the Macy's Day Parade, which is again like a new fear has been unlocked in every prepper. It's just it's great, but where this movie sings is when the characters are rubbing against each other and getting to talk to each other, and I think, and this is independent of any kind of influence from Josh, I think this movie could stand to be at least 5 to 10 times hornier. I mean, like the elements are there. Like the constitutive points, like the character design and like the plot beats. I really wish it leaned into like, I don't know, like like some like sexy stuff, because I feel like it wants it, but then it also is like, but no, I'm a little more tame than that, which is fine, whatever. But yeah, it's like it's simmering under the surface, and I wish it got to like fully come out. But all that to say, gorgeous movie, beautiful, stunning to watch, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I actually agree that I think the movie should have ended with Spike getting absolutely railed, Craig.
Oh, yeah. No,
I need that twink obliterated.
just a non sequitur of like, oh man, it's finally over, and then it just cuts to the most like fucking hardcore, like, you know, and it's you know, it's exactly in keeping with the style and everything just set, but you know, it's just fucking on that spaceship. Yeah, no, completely.
So true.
I should be in this poof.
Always saying this. I really liked this, but I'm going to start by responding to what you both said, because I do think that the movie does have a couple of issues. I agree with both of you that I think the plot... So I do think that what I think works about the plot is it does feel like a long episode of Cowboy Bebop, which, by the way, I'm going to like Ludovico technique the both of you. We're going to get through the whole series. You might not like it, but it's for me. It's not really for you. But it does feel like a long episode of Cowboy Bebop, which I mean complimentary. Like, I think it managed to like stay true to itself despite like the quintuple long runtime. However, I do think the plot is quite thin for a movie of 2 hours. Like, I think if this had been like a 24-minute episode of Cowboy Bebop, I think it would have been a pretty good episode of Cowboy Bebop. But as a 2-hour runtime, I think it's like only an okay episode of Cowboy Bebop, because there's not a lot of story to support. Because there's like a backstory here, right, about like nanomachines and like government testing. Like, you don't really get anything about Vincent in any meaningful way, because the movie just doesn't really go there. So you do have these like beautiful anecdotes, like that very long scene relatively of Spike on the stairs talking to Rashid, the guy who like gave him the vase with the virus in it, the virus sample. You have that quite long scene that's really just like flavor and not really anything like about the characters of the world or whatever, but like which is a great scene. I but like it's like because the episode is kind of thin plot wise, you don't get a lot about Vincent. You don't get a lot about sort of like the political machinations that would have this be happening. So I did think the plot's a little thin for the runtime, but like that's my only real complaint, is that it's only an okay episode of Cowboy Bebop, because like this movie looks so fucking good. I just like every single shot, like you've both said, the blocking is out fucking rageous. Mm-hmm. The animation is to die for. The background design is to die for. I already love like the Bebop cast anyway, but like they are rendered so well in this movie. I like how they all get to like sort of do their own thing. Like Ed is mostly doing science stuff, but she does go outside once. And I was like, damn, they even got Ed to go outside. That's pretty cool. Jet is mostly just being like an angry old guy, which fucking rocks. Faye is hot. More. Spike is hot. There's the scene where Ein is wearing the jack-o'-lantern head changed my life. It's so fucking cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like visually this movie could not be better. Like it was repulsive how good every single shot was. Nobody in the history of the medium, I'm gonna paint with a real big brush here. Nobody in the history of the medium is willing to like include with such like love and interest the like diversity of people that Watanabe is doing. Nobody in the West, nobody in the East, nobody else is like, man, I love all different kinds of people. They're all so interesting to look at. What if we had people of all like races and sizes? Wouldn't that be fun? And it's like, yeah, it turns out that rocks, and I love to see it on screen. It's amazing to see just like all of these like different like skin tones, and you just so rarely see that in animation that it really stood out to me. And I love it. I think this movie fucking owns. Could have been a little more plot in there, but all things considered, I think it slapped.
Yeah, that is interesting, right? There's what I was kind of thinking of as B-roll in the beginning of, we're kind of seeing people in the city. But I was like, no, I think this is like a really essential part of this, and it's part of what I liked about Bebop as a series as well, because I think you get that view into like the different places that they visit. But it's so interested in like telling you the story of a city that's like truly like utopian in like multiculturalism, and like that's like fantastic. And it's not even like how do I say this? It's not corny. It's not hammy. It's not like, it's all great in rainbows or whatever. It's just like, people are just vibing on Mars, and they have their own like cultures, their own like each like incidental character, each like little like person on the train. Even when the credits roll at the end, we're getting like shots of just like folks in like Mars, right? Having either just like gotten the good nanorobots, which mercifully, listeners, the three of us have the good nanorobots. So if you want our saliva, feel free to hit the DMs. The just that idea of like the city or whatever of on Mars here. It feels real. It feels alive. Much in a way that I think like Neo Tokyo and like Ghost in the Shell feels like very much alive. But that's less to do with like the characters or like the people in it or something. Yeah, no, that's something that I really, really responded to. It's just like how much color and life the city's given. Yeah, it's clearly rendered by a man who knows how to people watch and loves loves the craft of it. Gorgeous cross section of society here.
Yeah, it's so naturalistic. It's like that sort of like B-roll sort of quality that you were saying. Like, it's so naturalistic. It's really just people moisturized in their lane, thriving. And it just takes somebody who like really just spends a lot of time like looking at the world around him, I think, to get that kind of vibe. I know that for like the Moroccan neighborhood in particular, like Watanabe like went to Morocco to like figure out, what like a Moroccan neighborhood might look like and sort of mesh that in with the whole aesthetic that he's made for the city. Research is cool.
Yeah, it turns out when you enter the world as an artist, it like pays dividends when you're trying to like make a world. Yeah. It helps a lot. Otherwise, you end up with like a weird caricature, and that can be a problem for like a lot of people, and for people who consume the artwork.
Yeah, or even just like full omission, right? Like just like a complete generalizing of like a big diverse population. Yeah, another thing that I think sort of was a bit underbaked here, and I think because this movie is probably a little too long for like what we have. Like I said, the plot's a bit thin, so like it's probably a little long. But like, I think this would have worked okay if this was like even maybe a 45-minute long experience. But I think Elektra is pretty underbaked. They do have kind of a tall order because you've got like the four leads, and then you have the villain, and then they're like, oh shit, we got to get this other lady in here too. And I think as a consequence, like she has like almost nothing to do, like except for like a series of men demanding like like blackmailing her into going on dates with her. It's just like she has like, I mean, she's cool, like I like her, but like I feel like she doesn't really get time to herself to really like specialize or differentiate. And so like she just ends up being like a badass girl.
Yeah, I felt like there was really room because she has like a past with the main villain to like even explore that more, or like develop her relationship. But it's just kind of told to you. You don't really see any like kind of fun dynamic between the two, really. It's just sort of like she tells Spike when they're in jail that they had like a thing, and then they see each other at the end of the movie, and that's like basically all we get in terms of their backstory with each other, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I like you are sort of led to believe it's a romantic relationship and that they're not like siblings, right? But like right. And then like, so by the end of literally the last set piece of the movie, they're like, oh yeah, we were lovers once. Forgot though, but I'm glad that I remember now. And it's like, I wish that was more. Like, if it's gonna be here, I wish it was a lot more.
Yeah, like the major and the lead terrorist in The Individual 11 and Second Gig.
Yeah.
Give me some backstory.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was really, part of me was wishing that, I don't know if there's room for it, but I'm so interested in these two characters and their dynamic that I'm like, oh, what if we got to see what this war in Titan. I was about to say Attack on Titan, and then my brain just fucking frizzled out. Little section of like what they were before in the past, or like, something like a little more meaty to hang on to, because, and sorry, I'm talking like Josh now. They're both really hot, and like I think the movie like wants them to. I'm projecting. I'm not.
Welcome to the dark side, Craig.
Welcome, my son. Welcome to the machine.
It's all downhill from here, Craig.
But it's just like, like like I want that, like, because the whole like. Like standoff at the end, the kind of like the point blank or point break rather of like I'm holding the gun at my loved one, and like I don't know who's gonna shoot, or like carnality or some kind of like tenderness, because it's kept so like distant. They never really get to even be like physically proximate. They're holding each other off at they're doing they're doing gun standoff. I want them to be closer, and I want to learn more, and whether that's like seeing or something like because it's like the thing that I guess like frustrates me a bit is again, we have beautifully designed characters, beautifully voice acted, dubbed, not subbed, for life. Like I want more of them, and that's kind of like where I'm pulling at the bars of the film, and I'm like, I want more of this.
Yeah.
And like I'm only left to my imagination, and now I want to start a live journal. Like I'm not even really kidding. Like I'm saying these things in the format of a joke, but like that's actually where my impulse is. It's like, I want to know, and I think the only recourse now is to like imagine it.
I am begging you to start a live journal.
It would be so fucking curt. No, it would be rancid. No, it would become one of these things that like
you need to do
it. In like 5 years, a YouTuber would like the rarely told story of the darkest, just like
the Craig
that's where it would end
iceberg.
I'm picturing, like, do you guys remember how on LiveJournal it used to be like currently listening to, currently drinking, and Craig is like, I've got my twice filtered water. I'm listening to Silver Mount Zion. I don't really feel like posting, and that's just your entry.
It's every Godspeed You Black Emperor song, just like chronologically on a loop. No, completely.
It's like what I'm listening to thing is like 18 songs, and then the journal entry is like 2 sentences.
Yeah, it's just a missive. You're like, I thought about the grass today.
Valentine's breasts gleaming in the midday sun.
Pissed off, saw a cloud that looked like my dad.
Yeah. I love that on Mars, Halloween is a huge affair.
At one point, I turned to my girlfriend and I said, they really fucking go all out for Halloween here. Holy shit. It's like not that big of a deal anywhere. But like that's a really great texture for the movie. Because like Halloween decorations are so fun to have, like, like they kind of like co-opt the iconography of like the Macy's Thanksgiving parade, but like make it spooky. And like stuff like that's really fun.
Yeah. And I like that their idea to make it spooky is just give everything jack-o'-lantern faces. Like, genuinely love that. No notes. Everything needs a cartoon fanged guy.
It's like Halloween from like the 1950s.
Yeah. And yeah, I just love that there's like, I don't even know like what that structure is. It's just a tower that says Happy Halloween on it. And it doesn't look like that like comes off. Like, I think that just is a permanent monument to how much we love Halloween. It's like these giant permanent marquee that just tells you how much they love Halloween, and I'm like, that rocks. No notes on that architecture. And I love that they even give Vincent like his little witch hat. I think that's so much fun. I'm like, he's already got a black duster. You better give him a witch hat. Yeah. What else could he wear?
It's a good look too.
He should have been in it sooner. When he put the hat on, I was like, he should have worn this the whole time.
They should have given him like an equivalent hat that was like less witchy until the Halloween set piece where he trades it out for a witchy one.
It's just a wide brim hat without the witchy top, and then he's
yeah, like a female prisoner 701 scorpion hat.
Yeah, that would have been good. I did sort of like the idea. I don't think they use it well in the way that I think other anime from around this time period is like really clever with visual metaphor. And I think they use it well visually, but like this idea of like it's sort of an offhanded comment, but like when you're infected with the virus, as it hits your brain, you see like lights and stuff, and it's very beautiful, and it's like you've seen the prettiest thing you've ever seen before your brain powers off. Mm-hmm. In the movie, it's represented by this like field of glowing butterflies, which like, is pretty in the movie, but like I feel like there was a lot you could do with that visual metaphor, and it's like they sort of use it in the tower, like when Spike's about to be like executed by Vincent. But then I found it kind of confusing because like Spike should already be immune to the virus, so I'm not sure why he's seen the butterflies at all. And I was just like, man, I want this reserved for the people who are about to kick it, and I want you to tell me something about the last thing you see being like this dazzling beauty. And I don't know if they really find room for that in here.
No, I like the visual, but I think you're right. It should mean more when it happens.
Yeah, because when they compose it, it fucking rocks. Like when it's on screen, you love to see it, and it's just like it doesn't mean anything when they show it. I thought the needle drops in this were cool. I didn't know any of the songs offhand, but I did like that one of them's just about being like. Actually, two of them are about being like really horny. Like one of them's like Spike doing his like montage to the city, and he's like, well, maybe I'm just horny or whatever, and then the later one is like about like getting your dick sucked or something.
I assumed those were those not written for the movie.
Oh, maybe they were.
I don't know.
I don't know if they're written for the movie. I thought they were needle drops. Either way, I liked them.
Yeah, they're really bold. They're really they have a lot of personality, that like idea that like the sound should kind of like serve it's kind of like the notion of like editing, like you shouldn't notice good editing or whatever, which I don't know that I agree with at all, but it's like these tracks, like when they land, they just like they're like hey, what's up, we're gonna occupy as much space as like the action on screen, which is like a really bold brash way of soundtracking a film. I loved it.
I looked it up, and IMDb says they were all. Well, it just says they're all composed by Yoko Kanno, so I assume they're written for the movie itself.
Well, in that case, I think they are pretty amazing, like in terms of their like variety, and they. I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, they feel varied, and yeah, I agree with Craig. They have a real like a real presence. Like, you just don't expect like a real funky. I mean, you kind of do if you watch Cowboy Bebop, I guess. But like, they're like, Spike's just walking around the city, and then it's like the hottest bass line you ever heard, and it's just they really like they really like hit you with it, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna like this, no problem.
There was one part I thought I was listening to Philip Glass, but I don't think it was. I can't remember exactly what part, but part of it. Who brought like 60s minimalism to this.
Scaring the hose by bringing that one song that's just him listening to the sounds around him.
Love Yoko Kanno though.
Yeah, there were sort of like early 3D used in this, and I think it's so elegantly integrated with the cells. There's a particularly impressive shot where it's on like the elevated line fight between Vincent and Spike, and it's after Spike's been thrown out the window, and it's sort of like the camera like trucks out from Elektra it trucks out from Vincent until it's like all the way by Elektra, so it goes from like a close to like kind of an over the shoulder shot from where she is. And it like the camera's like spinning at the same time, and you can tell that the set is a model, but it integrates really beautifully with the cell. I don't know, it was just great integration of all the tools. I could talk about how good this movie looks for another hour.
Yeah, I thought the 3D was really tastefully done. Always kind of used in a way where like I didn't feel robbed of the fun animation. Like it always felt like it was adding something to it. Because there's a lot of really good like perspective moving 2D shots in this too that are like really delicious looking. And when they do break out the 3D, it is similarly impressive.
Yeah, because I feel like, I mean, I'm sure there's times where I didn't notice the 3D, but like I feel like they reserve it for like the really like complicated camera moves, because like there's all sorts of scenes in this fucking movie where people are pointing a gun at one angle and then change the angle, like point the gun at camera or whatever, or point it away. And it would have been, easy for them to, make that a model, but these guns are lovingly rendered. They said, "Fuck you! We are drawing these guns at every angle. You can't take that from us." So like, yeah, they it seems like they really like reserved this. I mean, obviously not that I've worked on so many 3D shows. Like, it's not easier necessarily to use 3D, but like they really do kind of save it for these really ambitious shots that would have been like almost impossible to pull off otherwise, and I think that's awesome.
I was gonna say something like, why don't more movies look this nice now? But then I was like, I don't keep up with anime enough to stake that claim in the ground. Really, I
mean, movies still look good now.
Right.
Like, don't get me wrong, movies still look good. But I do think
that
like
Dan
this sort of
show looked really good.
Yeah. And I think that TV animation in particular, like there are so many ways now to, like even from experience, like our work on Lackadaisy, Lackadaisy looks incredible in my opinion. Like I can tell you that we do not have a big budget from experience. There is not a big budget behind the show. So like I think that TV, both in the East and in the West, there are so many ways now that maybe didn't exist, 15, 20 years ago, at least with the ease that they exist now, of making things look expensive, of kind of like making them look rich and whatever. And I do think that conversely, there's less of this appetite. And I mean, I think you're probably seeing this in all art everywhere, because we're in a real like famine period globally, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, it's like you can only get a movie like this, or like, some of the really like sumptuous Ghibli movies, by like just having people who are willing to like invest time. And like, okay, this movie isn't done in 7 months. That's fine. Like if you need 2 years, it's going to take 2 years to make the movie, because like past a certain point, like baseline, there's no way to like rush it. And things need time to look good. Like all of these hand painted backgrounds of which there are so fucking many, and like so much, like wide angle perspective, which this movie uses so well. But like I honestly think it's just because production schedules keep shrinking to like appease investors, to like not have to pay animators and designers as much, just to keep shortening, making everything cheaper, making it quicker, making it just with like less care and less love, just because like that's just the way the world is now.
We peaked in the late 90s, early 2000s is what you're saying.
for like a movie that's like as realistic as this, yeah. I mean, like this, Tokyo Godfathers was 2 years later. Like, I mean, like movies with this like semi-realism with just an insane attention to detail. Yeah, I kind of like. I mean, movies in 2025 still look beautiful, but like you often find that I'm trying not to paint with too big of a brush because there's so many different ways to be an animated film. But like it is more cost effective to find ways to sort of like maybe generalize or sort of cheat some of these things because you just don't have a budget, because animators and designers are given lesser and lesser budgets for shorter and shorter contracts. And it's just not possible to do something of this scale with most average contracts. Like it's in like I'm sure you've heard this adage if you're a fan of TV or animation or movies, but it's a miracle that anything gets made, much less a miracle of something of this quality, of like the quality of a Cone film. Long story short, yeah, I think we peaked like 2002.
Lackadaisy does look really good though.
It does, and it's only because there's a bunch of really dedicated people who should be paid more money to make it come to life. Well, do you guys have any final thoughts about Cowboy Bebop the movie?
I should probably watch the rest of the show.
Oh, I know that I'll fail again. I know it. I see myself as weak fundamentally.
I own it all on DVD, but maybe if I buy the Blu-ray, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to do conversion camps, but just for making you guys watch Cowboy Bebop.
It's like insanely episodic, right?
Yeah, there's like a couple smaller plots that'll take up more than an episode, but yeah, for the most part, they're supposed to be like vignettes.
Yeah. And like generally I like that. Like I said, I like Samurai Champloo a lot, but like I think I feel similarly to Cowboy Bebop as I feel to like Batman the Animated Series, where I'll watch a few episodes and be like, yeah, got it. You know, like think I got it, but like maybe that's unfair.
Well, and like I would say not every, I mean the show overall is great. Like the 26 episodes are heaters. Like the episodes do vary in quality. Like some are very, very good, and some of them are like okay, which as a baseline is better than many other cartoons. But like, yeah, so they do vary in quality as well. And I think that could be like the downfall of like a non-narrative driven show, is that like if you have a few episodes in a row that aren't heaters, like you do risk losing the audience's attention. And what I was going to say is that I think that is sort of to what you were saying at the start of the episode, Jen, is like this movie does just sort of end because I think it does treat itself like a long episode of the show, and all episodes of the show just kind of end because they're just like, like a self-contained kind of thing. Although I will say that for a movie, I think that's less satisfying than it is like an episode of a TV show.
Yeah.
Because like as a TV show, you're like you appreciate it as like the holistic sum of its parts more than a movie, which you sort of want to end in a way that feels cathartic.
Yeah. I think I remember Samurai Champloo ending on like there would be resolution and stuff, and then they would continue on their journey to find the samurai that smells of sunflowers. When it would very rarely ever just drop the second upon conclusion. Yeah, that's a great show. They should have made a movie based on that.
Craig, have you seen Samurai Champloo?
I have not. No.
I think I watched an episode of it with you at one point, Craig.
Oh, let me.
It's like it's like a samurai show, but it's like soundtracked with like lo-fi hip hop beats to study, relax to.
Oh yeah, we did watch an episode. Yes, I remember this.
I'm convinced that that's actually the lasting legacy of Samurai Champloo more than like anything else is lo-fi hip hop beats to study / relax to. I think the lasting legacy of Cowboy Bebop is Cowboy Bebop, the live action show. Who won really? Who won?
Yeah, I mean, Nudge Base was like, it completely changed the.
It's one of the
game.
greats. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of like lo-fi hip hop and MF Doom were like the soundtrack to like Adult Swim, which I think influenced a lot of like Americans our age who liked cartoons.
Yeah.
which directly influenced the whole like lo-fi hip hop type deal. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think that Samurai Champloo probably had a bigger effect on the general culture, but I think Cowboy Bebop had a bigger effect on the medium, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely. Wouldn't argue with that. Like I said, I don't see people really pulling the other stuff from it other than the soundtrack. I guess the Boondocks did, but like that ended 10 years ago.
It's a great fucking show though. Samurai Champloo is amazing.
Yeah, I love that show. If you haven't figured that out.
Yeah.
I've watched through that thing at least twice.
I don't know. I'm just going to I'm going to misery Craig. We're going to watch all my favorite shows, Craig.
Oh, Craig, looks like your leg's healing up pretty good. Oh, no, you're only on episode 15? Uh-oh, Craig.
Be ashamed if you were
It's time for a visit from Mr. Mallet again.
The Zorro theme mallet.
Yeah. You can't leave until you write me my preferred fanfic for Samurai Champloo.
It's exactly Amy's hammer from Sonic Adventure.
I gave this 4.5 stars. I do think narratively it's not a 4.5-star movie, but the visuals make up for what I find to be the narrative failures. I hope I can make something even a fraction as beautiful as this someday.
3.5 from me. Honestly, this isn't a knock on the movie, but like even if you turn the audio off and watched it, you'd probably still get quite a bit out of it. You could put some lo-fi hip hop beats to study relax to behind it. 3.5 stars.
Yeah, 3.5 for me. It's gorgeous. It's fucking great. Yeah, I want more from the plot, but it's a stunning film.
3.5 stars it is. We don't have any questions, probably.
Nope.
He said passive aggressively to the listeners.
Okay, we recorded 2 days ago. We're doing this for you, Josh. You can't get mad at the people who listen to this show anymore.
He said passive aggressively to the people downloading the podcast.
Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening. Send me all your favorite Cowboy Bebop porn. Send it to me online. You can find the show.
You can tell a friend about it.
You can, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Yeah, why don't you? Why don't you do this? I won't say that. Why don't you tell a friend about it? You
can be like, hey, what did you do this weekend? And then you can, they say whatever and they ask you and you go, oh, I've been checking out this podcast, Swim Fans. They're gay, but cool.
Yeah. Yeah. They're cool if you like, left-wing politics and being gay.
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. If you like extended bits about how one of them drinks a lot of water, then I think you'll like this show. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. So that is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Please, wherever you're listening, please subscribe, please rate, please review, please leave a comment. Tell a friend, all that good stuff. Thank you. It means a lot to us. Rest assured that when there is a comment, we see it and we share it amongst each other and we send the crying emoji. So that does occur. We also have a Patreon. So if you want to hear the backlog of all of our Patreon episodes, that are up. We, for as low as $1, you can subscribe to that. More stuff comes out, as often as we can. Thank you to all the patrons, all the elite doves. And you can find the show on all the social medias, Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd, user SwimFansPod, swimfanspod.com on Blue Sky. Give us a follow at all those spots. And I am online, all the same stuff, user Amons, AMONNS. I have not watched anything since our last recording, but I did go with Matt and friends of the pod, Steve Yurko and Mike Lucas, to the the brand new One Piece Cafe that has just opened in Little Tokyo in Los Angeles. They have One Piece themed food and merchandise and that kind of thing. I tried. What did I order? I had. This is for me, but I had Sanji's Diable Jambe chicken katsu sandwich and Zoro's matcha horchata.
A cake that looked like Zoro's ass.
Man, I wish. Buddy, they won't even let me eat it. But like I don't know, like if you've ever been to any of these like themed cafes, they're quite popular in Japan and they're starting to make their way over to the States. Like I think the One Piece Cafe in Vegas is like permanent and it's just there. But like typically my experience with these themed cafes, both domestically and internationally, is that they're kind of chintzy. You're mostly there for like the gimmick and the food is like tertiary to the experience. Like I went to one in Japan that like was really, it was like too sweet, too processed, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't really like a real restaurant. However, the
what was
food,
the theme?
It was Capcom. It was the Capcom Cafe.
Oh,
I got cool merch though, you know, because they had a colossal merch shop.
Calfcom.
The Calfcom. Yeah, they actually denied me a beverage because I said Calfcom. But the food at the One Piece Cafe in Little Tokyo, the portions were colossal. Like I didn't finish my sandwich, and they gave you fries, and I barely touched the fries. It was just too much food. Matt got yakisoba and onigiri that was very good. Steve Yurko got paella and what else did he get? Something else. But like all of the food was very good, shockingly good. For LA, it was kind of on par. Like they didn't really like jack the prices up for the gimmick. So yeah, I think it was actually technically a soft opening that we went to, but the real opening is in August. So if you like One Piece, if you're in LA, give the cafe a shot. It was nice. The worker complimented the Transformers t-shirt I was wearing because I am an aging millennial. Jennifer.
Did you get exclusive access to it from your One Piece podcast connections?
Yes, but they weren't my connections. They were the connections of the people who have the exclusive connections. Yes.
Sure. You can follow me on Blue Sky, diatron5.swimfanspod.com. I'm on Letterboxd Diatron. I watched Guinea Pig 3: He Never Dies for the first time. That was that was way goofier than I was expecting it to be. With that series, you don't know what you're going to get. It'll either be the most bleak dissection of a woman that goes on for like 45 minutes or just bloody, goofy shenanigans. Yeah, it's pretty split down the middle, honestly, in terms of that that series has no identity outside of bloodshed. So like some of the gore effects were like really impressive, even compared to other entries in the series. Like Flower, Flesh, and Blood is usually cited as like the most kind of like realistic looking one, but there's like a scene where the guy cuts his hand off, and the skin was like selling skin. Like it like looked like he was cutting into flesh in like a way
it's giving skin.
It's giving skin. And I know that it was probably just rubber, but it like looked really convincing. And there's a few effects that were like, I don't know, he must have been bending his neck in a weird way. So the story is it's about a guy who like hates his job and is just like, fuck this, I'm gonna kill myself. He tries to slit his wrist, but he finds that he doesn't actually feel any pain and it stops bleeding immediately, so he just starts hacking off body parts. And then he calls a coworker he doesn't like to just like freak him out by ripping out all of his intestines in front of him. And then the girl that the coworker he doesn't like is like hooking up with goes up to the apartment, and he's just like a severed head on a table, and he laughs, and then she goes, "Come on, you made such a mess," and then she just starts cleaning up, and that's the end of the movie.
I think we've all been there.
Like there's no payoff, or there's no like conclusion. They keep cutting to an American guy who you can't really hear what he's actually saying because he's being like dubbed by a Japanese guy who's just like, "This story really happened. This could happen to you." It's such a weird experience, but at 40 minutes, there's like very little to be genuinely upset about. It's like very little time commitment. And it was like a double feature on my Mermaid in a Manhole DVD that I just never watched. So yeah, if you're into, I don't know, gore comedies and you want to just kind of chill for a half hour, you could do that with Guinea Pig 3: He Never Dies. Craig.
You can find me at Craig Neeson on Instagram and Letterboxd, CraigNeeson.com. I have not seen anything in the intervening period since we last recorded. I am, however, reading William Golding's, and you might know him better by being the Lord of the Flies man, right? I'm reading his Free Fall, and I'm only a little bit into it, and I got to tell you, they should teach this to children. It's just like, my mom was massive, huge woman. She had sex with men, random men, much like an animal has sex. And I'm just like, they should just swap these out in the library.
That, but in a Rodney Dangerfield voice.
It's great so far. The prose is very like electric and yeah. It's I heard it was good and. Yeah, so far it kicks ass. It's very. I don't know if he's writing about himself, but could have fucking fooled me. I don't know. Seems like a lived experience. Yeah. Lord of the Flies. Check it out if you never heard about it.
Yeah, have you guys heard about this? Crazy what those boys are doing out there.
You never want to be the one that's holding the conch.
You won't believe what these little kids are doing.
We gotta save these kids.
Yeah. My bow tie starts spinning in alarm.
TikTok hack: starting a fire with your glasses. Piggy dead? Question mark. Ending explained.
Yeah, Craig is soy facing at the camera. Okay, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.